So Donald Trump Jr., he has that podcast on Rumble. I think the name of the channel, it's maybe his name or it's called Triggered, after the book he wrote, Triggered. But he did a podcast 2 days ago, and I listened to this, and it was all about the UAPs, the unidentified airplanes, the UFOs, that kind of stuff. And the people he interviewed, first of all, he made it very clear that these whistleblowers, for years whistleblowers have come out with this. And they are legit whistleblowers. They're people in high-ranking positions, and then something happens to them. So he had a couple of people on. You can go on Rumble and find it. Here, this was the title. I guess it's his channel. I thought. Out of This World, breaking news investigation on secret alien aircrafts. So this gentleman that he interviews two guys. This guy, I think he's Ross Coulthart. He's with News Nation News, one of the News Nation, I think it is. Tomorrow on Saturday, I think at 8 p.m. they're going to have a full thing on News Nation on Rumble. All of these people that are people that should be respected and heard, that have been where they have recovered. He refers to it, interesting, as a technology not from this world kind of thing. You have to go listen to it. So and just so people realize, because you're going to hear, and so you have to try to listen with different ears, I think, too. So Donald Trump Jr. says in here, we have to, keep our experts. He's talking about Elon. We have to keep our geniuses, he says. Elon's been able to do all this stuff that NASA never could do. And when he said that, I thought, wait a minute, there's no way they would let Elon do that unless he was doing it for the military-industrial complex. So I'm just saying, if you go watch this, don't, because it's just like Donald Trump. Everybody just thinks because Donald Trump praises Elon that it means that you should. I don't think it means what you think it means. Because Elon, if he was just a citizen doing this stuff, he should have never been allowed. He was doing it with the government. He's part of the military-industrial complex. But I'm just not going to back off of that because of the fact that, first of all, he's just a troublemaking kind of guy. First of all, it's right up his alley just to mess with people. So take that with a grain of salt when Don Jr. says that, because he's saying the same thing his dad says about we've got to protect our geniuses. But let me remind people that Melania Trump, she came here on a genius visa. The EB-1 visa is genius level, meaning for their area, what they do, they actually have to check all these boxes. It also fast tracks them into citizenship because of being a genius. So this bullshit about the H-1B visas, they're just workers visas. I'm not saying some of those people aren't educated. I'm just saying a lot of them, Elon and other people in Silicon Valley, just want cheap labor, because those are people that won't complain, because they'll get deported if they do. They won't complain about the working conditions, okay? This is old news. But anyway. But this I thought was interesting because, this is Don Jr. And he says, no, there's something to that. We need to be told. So I don't believe that there's aliens from another planet. They're fallen angels. That's what it is. And I think our government has colluded with those fallen angels. I do. Now, you can write that off to me being crazy, but before you do, why don't you go listen to that podcast? Go listen to it. Because Donald Trump I felt like it was a very serious, especially timing right before the inauguration. So, and he made it very clear that the people that were there and saw these things take place, they've tried to go after them as being crazy and, need to put them in a psych ward. And he said that, no, their background is very legit. The high-ranking people of the military, these people, they've wanted for a long time to come out because they feel the American people should know this stuff. And even this gentleman who's from I think he's from Australia, but he said I think the American people are ready to know. And so there may be something behind not wanting the American people to know, because it would scare you to know your government's colluded with fallen angels. And I could be wrong. There's nothing in the Bible about aliens from outer space, except for the ones that are fallen angels. And I believe the Bible. So, I mean, I just like I question very much the people that say the Earth's been here billions of years, how they base that on just whatever bullshit they pull out of their ass. Okay, what they've always been trying to cover up is that the Bible is true. So the Bible says what they are, and they're fallen angels. They're fallen entities. They're fallen spirits. I mean, God says that a falling star, we would call it a shooting star, but a falling star is a fallen angel. So they've recovered some of these things. They have for a long time. And so it sounds like they have some technologies that they've gotten from these entities. And so they're going to disclose that on Saturday. Now, many people in this country will write that off like, oh, this is nonsense. Yeah, you need to snap out of that mindset, because you've been put in that box for a reason. And the fact is the Bible explains all these things. I'm not saying that on Saturday they're going to say they're fallen angels, but I think most Christians would agree with me that there's not aliens from another planet. They're fallen angels. And if you knew that, then you would know that the Bible is true then. So that's why we have to create this narrative. I'm not saying they're doing that, but they've wanted to carry on about that, there's life on other planets. No, because God says nothing about there being life on other planets, and God would have told us that in the Bible. But he does say that the watchers on the wall, and that's what they are. That's why all the stars, they're considered angels, especially your bright, and I think your brightest ones are your archangels. Some, or they're the other side, the ones that decided to leave their proper place of dwelling. But they're the watchers on the wall, the angels that watch over humanity until God says it's, we're taking the trash out, and then the angels that are still with God, which majority of them are there, they are very much involved in that. They're talked about in Revelations, and they're talked about in the book of Jude, which is before Revelations. That book of Jude talks very heavily, and I guess you could say Genesis somewhat, but the book of Jude and book of Enoch, which they left out, but you can go listen to that. Book of Enoch ties up the book of Jude, because the book of Jude just touches on how these angels, they left their proper place of dwelling. And there's a reason when Jesus came, he said the whole world lies with the wicked one. He meant that fallen one. So ultimately, and that it wasn't just that fallen angel, it wasn't just Lucifer that fell and didn't fall, but decided to take a dive. It was other ones that went with him. Those are what I believe the aliens are. But if they would ever let America know that truth, well, then the Bible would be 100% confirmed.